The early sun streamed between the oaks that line the streets of southwest Atlanta, casting soft golden patches across the pavement. It was the kind of fall morning when the air felt crisp but gentle, a reminder that winter wasn't far. Jamal Parker, 18, tugged on the zipper of his hoodie as he stepped out of his family's small townhouse. His mother, Tanya, had already left for her early shift at the nursing home, and his little sister Ari was still asleep inside. Jamal balanced his backpack filled with tools, wrenches, screwdrivers, WD-40, and a few spare parts. Fixing things had always been his talent. Bikes, old radios, kitchen cabinets. He loved solving problems with his hands. That morning he was headed to Baker Park, where he often repaired bikes for neighborhood kids for a few extra dollars. He walked toward the bus stop, breathing in the smell of dew on grass mixed with the faint scent of a neighbor's breakfast frying, waffles, and something sweet. Despite the peace of the morning, his thoughts felt heavy. College applications. Money. Helping his mother. Finding enough to take care of Ari's school supplies. Being a black teen in a world that didn't always give second chances. The weight pressed down on him, but he pushed forward. Another day, he whispered to himself. At the edge of the park, a few joggers passed by. Elderly couples walked their dogs. The crackling sound of dry leaves echoed under sneakers. And then he heard it. "Oh dear, no, no, no. Please don't fall apart on me." The voice was shaky but stubborn. Jamal turned and spotted an elderly white woman on the sidewalk. Her gray hair was swept into a bun, but a few strands had escaped. She wore a burgundy sweater, beige slacks, and orthopedic shoes. She was seated in a motorized wheelchair, which suddenly jerked sideways, one wheel wobbling dangerously. She gripped the armrest, panic flickering in her eyes. Without thinking, Jamal jogged over. "You all right, ma'am?" "Oh, well, I'm not sure anymore," she said, her voice trembling with embarrassment. "This thing seems to have decided it's had enough of me." Jamal crouched beside the wheelchair, examining the wheel. The bracket was loose, one screw nearly stripped. "It's fixable," he said, reassuring her. He glanced up. "I'm Jamal, by the way." She exhaled with relief. "And I'm Evelyn. Evelyn Hargrove. It's nice to meet you, young man." Her hands shook a little from age or maybe the scare, but she tried to keep a confident posture. Jamal opened his backpack. "You mind if I take a look?" "Please," she said, her tone softening. "I'd be grateful." Jamal worked quickly but carefully, tightening the bracket, adjusting the axle, and wiping rust from the frame. "You carry all those tools with you?" Evelyn asked. "Yeah," he said, smiling. "People always need something fixed. I help out where I can." "That's quite admirable." She watched him closely, eyes full of the kind of curiosity that came from a long life of observing people. "Your mother must be proud." Jamal huffed out a small laugh. "She works a lot. Doesn't always get to see what I'm up to." He didn't say it with resentment, just fact. Evelyn nodded slowly. "Hardworking mothers try their best. I know something about that." After a few minutes, Jamal stepped back and wiped his hands on his jeans. "All right, try it now." Evelyn pressed the joystick. The wheelchair glided forward smoothly. The wobble was gone. Her face lit up. "Well, I'll be. You fixed it." Jamal grinned. "Just needed a little love." "How much do I owe you?" she asked, reaching into her purse. He raised a hand and shook his head. "Nothing. It wasn't a big deal." Evelyn blinked, startled. "Young man, I insist." "I'm serious," he said warmly. "I'm just glad you're okay." For a moment, she studied him with a look Jamal couldn't quite read, something between gratitude and recognition, perhaps. "You are a rare young man, Jamal." He shrugged. "Just doing the right thing." Evelyn cleared her throat. "Would you mind walking with me to my home? It's just a few blocks from here. Wheelchair trouble has me feeling a little uneasy." "Of course." Jamal slung his backpack over his shoulder. "Lead the way." As they walked, they talked. Jamal told her about his mother's long shifts at the nursing home, his hopes of studying mechanical engineering, and how he fixed things for neighbors to help pay bills. Evelyn smiled at each detail. "You have good hands and a good heart." "What about you?" he asked. "Oh, I'm just an old retired woman," she said dismissively. "I used to run a business years ago." She didn't specify what kind. Didn't mention that business meant one of the largest community health organizations in the country, now worth over $1 billion. Her name wasn't widely recognized by young people, and she had no interest in fame. They reached her home, a cozy but elegant brick residence with white shutters and a carefully tended garden. "You want some water?" she asked. "Or maybe some sandwich cookies. I made a fresh batch." "If you insist," Jamal laughed. Inside, the house smelled like cinnamon and lavender. Family photos lined the walls. Pictures of younger Evelyn with her late husband, snapshots of charity events, awards framed in gold. Evelyn returned with a plate of cookies. "You remind me of my grandson," she said softly, her voice trembling for the first time. "What happened to him?" Jamal asked gently. "He passed away 10 years ago," she whispered. "Car accident. My only grandchild." Jamal's heart tightened. "I'm really sorry." Her eyes grew watery, but she smiled weakly. "Thank you, dear. Time heals, but the heart remembers." From then on, the conversation flowed more easily. A quiet friendship began taking shape between them. Before Jamal left, Evelyn wheeled herself over to a small desk by the window. "You said you want to study engineering?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am. But college, well, it's expensive." She nodded knowingly. "Indeed it is." She wrote something on a card and handed it to him. "This is my assistant's number. I want you to come by on Monday. There's something I'd like to discuss." Jamal blinked. Okay. What for?" Evelyn gave him a mysterious smile. "Let's call it an opportunity." He hesitated. "You sure?" "Very sure." As he stepped outside into the cool afternoon air, he shut the gate behind him. For the first time in a long while, he felt something bright. Hope, small but glowing. When Jamal arrived at the address, Hargrove Community Health Headquarters, he froze. "This can't be right," he whispered. The building was massive. Modern glass windows, marble steps, security guards at the entrance. He checked the card. Same address. Inside, a receptionist greeted him warmly. "Welcome, Mr. Parker. Mrs. Hargrove is expecting you." His eyebrows shot up. "Mrs. Hargrove?" He followed the receptionist down a hallway decorated with awards and plaques. Lifetime Achievement in Public Health, National Impact Award, Philanthropist of the Year. At the end of the hall sat Evelyn in her wheelchair, smiling knowingly. "You're Mrs. Hargrove," he stammered. "Yes," she said gently. "I wasn't lying about being an old retired woman. I simply didn't mention the rest." Jamal let out a small laugh of disbelief. "Wow. I brought you here because I saw something in you," she said. "Integrity, kindness, initiative. Qualities this country needs more of." She gestured to the seat beside her. "I would like to sponsor your full college education. Tuition, housing, books, everything." Jamal's mouth fell open. "Ma'am, I can't accept that." "You can," she said firmly, "because kindness should never go unnoticed." Tears welled in his eyes. He turned away, wiping them quietly. "I didn't help you to get something back," he said, voice shaking. "I know." She smiled softly. "That's exactly why I want to help you." That evening, Jamal rushed home and told his mother everything. Tanya stood in the kitchen, still in her scrubs, exhaustion etched into her face. But when she heard the story, she gasped and pressed a hand over her mouth. "She wants to pay for all of it?" Tanya whispered. "Yeah," he said softly. "All of it." Tanya's eyes filled with tears, years of worry, pain, and sacrifice melting into relief. She hugged him tightly. "Baby, you deserve this." Ari ran into the kitchen, confused but giddy at the sight of everyone crying and smiling. "What happened? Did Jamal win the lottery?" she asked. "In a way," Tanya laughed through tears. "Something like that." Over the next months, Jamal visited Evelyn often. They shared meals, talked about life, and walked through the park. Christmas came, and she invited his family over for dinner. The table was full, fried chicken, sweet potato casserole, collard greens, mac and cheese, and her homemade cookies. Evelyn wasn't just offering financial help. She gave mentorship, wisdom, support, something Jamal didn't know he needed. One afternoon, they sat on her porch, watching the sunset. "You know," she said gently, "people often think wealth is about the money. But that's never been the true value." "What is it then?" Jamal asked. "Relationships," she said. "People who show up for each other. That's the real richness in life." He nodded. "I get that." She smiled at him, warm, grandmotherly, proud. "You're going to do great things, Jamal Parker. I can feel it." The gymnasium was packed. Families cheered as students crossed the stage. When they called Jamal's name, Jamal Anthony Parker, mechanical engineering, the applause was thunderous. His mother screamed. Ari jumped and waved a handmade sign. And Evelyn, now 89, sat in the front row in her wheelchair, eyes glistening with pride. He walked across the stage with confidence, diploma in hand, knowing the road ahead was finally reachable. After the ceremony, he hugged Evelyn tightly. "You made this possible," he said. "No, dear," she whispered. "You did. I simply gave you a little push on a wheel that was already moving." Years later, Jamal became a respected engineer, designing affordable mobility devices for disabled and elderly Americans, innovations inspired by the very wheelchair he once repaired. He launched a foundation in Evelyn's honor, helping underprivileged youth pursue engineering and technical careers. At the opening ceremony, he spoke to the crowd. "She taught me that kindness echoed further than we ever imagine. A simple moment, stopping to help someone, can rewrite a life." The audience stood in applause. Evelyn, older but still sharp, smiled proudly. Jamal walked over, bowed his head slightly, and whispered, "Thank you for believing in me." She placed a frail hand over his. "And thank you, Jamal, for giving me hope again." The end.